When it comes to understanding who the real players are in the current transgender cult we're dealing with, I think it's far too simplistic to write them all off as sexual deviants. Now, while I wouldn't disagree with anyone that the current transgender cult has its fair share of folks who have an unnatural desire and tendency to be around young, impressionable minds and spend all that time with them focusing on deviant sexual behaviors, they're not all like that. There's also a contingent of them who are simply useful idiots. These are folks who have and worship the desire of being loved and liked. They've been convinced that being loving is the greatest of all virtues and being disliked the greatest of all sins, and therefore they are advocates and champions of the transgender movement. Scattered amongst these two camps are folks who simply have mental health issues. These are folks who suffer from a long laundry list of mental health comorbidities and need dire psychiatric help and counseling. Now, I know some of you would argue they all fall into this camp. Fair enough. But there's still one more group. These folks, in my opinion, are the mastermind and the leaders and the impetus behind this transgender cult, and these are the communists and the Marxists. These nefarious individuals working behind the scenes are committed only to the destruction of the Judeo-Christian principles of Western civilization. They're not interested in deviant sexual behavior. They only use that as a weapon, as a means to an end, to basically destroy the Western world and rebuild it in their own image. Of course, they're far too clever to come out and say that. Instead, they pander to what drives men and women the most: their sexual lusts and desires and their need to be loved and liked. These folks know full well that this is a wedge issue, and given no one is or has been immune from it, it's something everyone can easily relate to. And because of that, they would have more tolerance of going outside of societal norms than for any other type of thing. How do I know? Well, because it's right out of their own playbook. I recently ran across a document titled Congressional Record Appendix A34-A35. It was an extension of remarks made by the Honorable A.S. Herlong Jr. of Florida in the House of Representatives. It was based on a speech he made on January 10, 1963, in which he wanted included in the record 45 current communist goals at that time, which he had identified as an excerpt from The Naked Communists, written by Cleon Skousen. See if any of these goals sound eerily familiar and could be the driving force of what we're encountering some 60 years later, not only with the trans movement, but the upside down world we're living in. Now, I put a link in the notes section to all original 45 so you can check them out. But for now, I'm going to focus on the few that really jumped out at me. They are not, as I mentioned, all related to the trans cult, but also will explain so much more of what's happening. Number 4 said, permit free trade between all nations regardless of communist affiliation and regardless of whether or not items could be used for war. Number 7 said, grant recognition of Red China, admission of Red China to the UN. Number 11, promote the UN as the only hope for mankind. If its charter is rewritten, demand that it be set up as a one world government with its own independent armed forces. Some communist leaders believe the world can be taken over as easily by the UN as by Moscow. Sometimes these two centers compete with each other, as they are now doing in the Congo. Again, note that this was written in 1963. Number 15, capture one or both of the political parties in the United States, the Uniparty, folks. Number 16, use technical decisions of the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming their activities violate civil rights. Sound familiar? Number 17, get control of the schools. Use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum, dumb it down. Get control of teachers' associations. Put the party lines in textbooks. Number 20, infiltrate the press. Get control of book review assignments, editorial writing, policy-making positions. Number 21, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. Number 23, control art critics and directors of art museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art. Number 24, eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. Okay. Number 25, break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. Again, folks, bear in mind, this is 1963. Number 26, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. Sound familiar? Number 27, infiltrate the churches and replace revealed religion with social religion. Discredit the Bible and emphasize the need for intellectual maturity, which does not relieve a religious crutch. Number 28, eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the ground that it violates the principle of separation of church and state. Number 32, support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of the culture, education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics, etc. Number 37, infiltrate and gain control of big business. Can you say Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light, Target? Number 38, transfer some of the powers of arrest from the police to social agencies. Treat all behavioral problems as psychiatric disorders which no one but psychiatrists can understand or treat. Number 40, discredit the family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. 41, emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents. Attribute prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influences of parents. Make the parents the enemy, folks. That's what they're saying. Number 42, create the impression that violence and insurrection are legitimate aspects of the American tradition, that students and special interest groups should rise up and use a united force to solve economic, political, or social problems. Kind of really describes what we're living through, no? Now bear in mind that when folks like Mr. Herlong said those things, they were dismissed as being overly hyperbolic by all the intellectuals. While it seems that far from being hyperbolic, with the benefit of history, we can see that Mr. Herlong was simply predicting the modern day we'd be living in today. Anyway, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Please post any comments you have in the comment section. You can always follow me on my Rumble and my Locals account. You can also check out some of my past videos. Like I said, post your comments, and I will put a link to this actual 45 goals in the notes section once again, and check them out.